How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, joined by my co host, Ben Upson, once again, 2 weeks in a row. Look at that. Today, we will be covering the NFL. We will be going over our predictions for the season, who's winning the divisions, wild card teams, playoff teams, Super Bowl predictions. We're going to go through both conferences. Ben, how are we doing on this Wednesday on opening night eve, as the first game is tomorrow night?
Kenny, so excited. It's great when the NFL is back. Like, this is like the next best thing to Christmas morning as a kid because you just know that you're going to get 272 games of pure entertainment coming up all fall on, and that's what the
Well, I would
NFL is. So,
subtract some of those games because we're going to see some bad football too at times, but I know what you were getting
well,
at.
I mean, I live for Saints Panthers. I don't know about you.
Oh, man. Have fun with that. Anyways, so yes, we are going to go through both conferences. We're going to give you our division winners, our wild card teams, and then we will have our Super Bowl predictions at the very end. So I guess we will start off with the NFC. So I think we'll go division by division and not do what all of our teams are at once. But we'll start off with the division that the Giants play in, and that's the NFC East. I feel like this is going to be the easiest one. For me, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I don't think there's really anything else to say. Defending champs, they are still clearly the best team in this division. Dallas got worse, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I still think Washington has some things to do before they can catch up to the Eagles, although, they did beat the Eagles last year in the regular season, played them in the championship game, but the Eagles just were the better team, and a bunch of turnovers and things like that. They ended up getting blown out. Washington. They couldn't stop Saquon Barkley at all in any of the games that they played against the Eagles last year. But yeah, the Eagles, they still have the best defense. They have the best offense. Loads of talent. Saquon's going to have a big year. Their receivers are a little banged up, but when they play, they will play, and they're going to have good years. Jalen Hurts is going to continue to play well. The offensive line, although they're going to be missing one of their guards, Landon Dickerson. I know he's going to be out with an injury, but I think he's going to be back at some point this year. I mean, this team is just loaded from top to bottom, and yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to say. Even though I did say a lot there, but yeah, I think they're the clear-cut favorite, and I think they're going to run it back. And quick thing though, we have not had a repeat division champion in this division, so that is something to keep in mind. But I think that's when this ends. The Eagles just have too much talent. They're the better team here. They're the best team here. So I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the most obvious picks on the board for a division winner this year. I just can't see anybody else challenging them. I mean, while Jane Daniels and the Commanders have obviously very high hopes to replicate the season that they had last year, I just don't think that's going to exactly happen again. Um, so a lot of pressures on them to live up to the hype once again. And the Eagles just have so much talent. Like you said, I mean, they're the defending champs, and Nick Sirianni, I mean, as much as I think the guy can be a prick sometimes, I think he actually is a good NFL coach, and he's molded this team into, being one of the best in the NFL, and they likely will be again this year. The interesting thing is that the Eagles have said that for banner night against the Cowboys on Thursday, tomorrow, they're not going to be out there for the ceremony.
I did see that.
Yeah, Sirianni said they're going to be in the locker room preparing for the Cowboys. So, I mean, I guess credit that mindset. It's like put it in the past and move on. But I don't know. I still feel like you'd want to celebrate your banner, but whatever. That's not for me to decide. But yeah, a lot of talent back on this Eagles roster, and they're going to do well. They should take this NFC East, I think, fairly handily this year.
Yeah, it's again Dallas got worse. Do you want to have the? I know I went over it the other day, but what are your thoughts on the Micah Parsons trade?
It's an interesting situation. It really is. I mean, first of all, like when you look at it on the grand scope of things, like so the Packers got Micah, and then the Cowboys got, wasn't it Kenny Clark and a
Yeah,
draft pick?
two first round picks and
Two
Kenny
draft,
Clark.
two first rounds, right?
Jerry Jones wants to
So
stop the run.
yeah, like I mean, overall, I think obviously Green Bay won this deal. I mean, I don't think it's a lopsided deal, but
But
Green
we got
Bay
to see what
definitely
those
should be.
picks turn into.
Well, correct.
I think
That's
that's the main
what's
thing.
really
Then you could really make a
factor.
fair
Like,
assessment on that.
yeah, like I mean, for Dallas, like Kenny Clark is a great addition to that defense. Like, I don't think it's really, I don't think it was a bad trade, but it definitely wasn't ideal. Let's just say that. Uh, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. Like, I figured that Jerry Jones was going to get back there in the room with Micah and, really hash this out and give him that big contract that he was looking for. I mean, we've seen it in the past that, a lot of NFL owners usually cave in the end to the money and they dish it out to their players. But clearly, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys didn't want to pull the trigger on this. And we'll see how it goes for them. I mean, this is terrible for the city of Dallas, losing Luka Doncic on the Dallas Mavericks and losing Micah Parsons literally 8 months later. It's just crazy. Like, I mean, talk about bad luck for that sports city. But I mean, this is a move that's going to take the Packers potentially to an NFC North Division title, potentially to an NFC championship, and maybe potentially, dare I say it, a Super Bowl? Maybe. Stay tuned. We'll get to all that. But yeah, this is a great addition for Green Bay, and it's definitely one that's sent some mini shockwaves throughout the league.
Yeah, because I just assumed that with everything that went on with Miles Garrett and T.J. Watt and even Trey Hendrickson, at least for the moment, he's going to be playing under the deal that him and the Bengals agreed to. I thought that Micah Parsons was going to meet that same fate. Even with him requesting a trade, I just figured they were going to get it done because you don't want to lose a player like that. But I guess the relationship was just so fractured to the point where Dallas was like, all right, we're open to getting rid of him. And that's what ended up happening. And they traded him to a team that has owned them in the playoffs for the last several years, going back all the way to when Des Bryant dropped it in the divisional round against the Packers. So I thought that was interesting. And Jerry Jones admitted to the game they lost to the Packers against Jordan Love, where the Packers put up 48 points, that he was, upset. He was crying about the loss there. So, it is what it is at this point. But I even said this too. Many people say that Jerry waited too long. Like, as soon as you get into these negotiations, you should have got these deals done because then you wouldn't have had to pay Dak his deal. All right, you could have maybe got him at a bit of a discount before the market reset because Dak's making $60 million. Dak's not a $60 million quarterback. Dak is not a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And CeeDee Lamb's different. I think CeeDee Lamb, is one of the top receivers in the NFL, so he deserves his money. And not to say Dak doesn't deserve to get paid, but Dak doesn't deserve to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And he has 2 playoff wins. And this is now what, his 10th season already? And you only have 2 playoff wins? So, and then with Micah Parsons, I mean, he is one of the best edge rushers in the league, so he deserves to get paid as well. But again, you could have got him at a bit of a discount, prior to T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett getting paid. But you waited, but now it doesn't matter because now he's not on the team. Now he's the Packers' problem. But he's going to really help out that Packers team. With the young pass rushers they got to go along with that defense. That was something they struggled with last year, is rushing the passer. So, it's definitely going to pay off. But I know he's dealing with a bit of a back issue, so that's something to keep an eye on as we move forward. So now, I guess speaking of the Packers, let's go to the NFC North. All right. I'll give you the floor. Who do you have winning this division?
It's really tough to predict what this division's going to look like. I mean, you could really make a case for each team. You really could, between the Lions and what Dan Campbell's going to put out there this year. The Packers, obviously, the hype around Micah Parsons now. What can Jordan Love do? The Bears, new look, team with Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze, and this is really a big breakout year for Caleb Williams. It's one of his prove it type of seasons, and yeah, now the Vikings with JJ McCarthy finally at the helm. We're really about to see what he's capable of as an NFL quarterback, which we were unfortunately robbed of last season. So, I mean, every team in this division's on a completely different, path right now. It's going to be, I think, the most competitive division in the NFL this year. But, I don't know why. I think my heart still lies with Detroit. I think the Lions really, proved something last year. And I believe that Dan Campbell is, one of the best coaches in the league. We've talked about it before, Kenny, about, coaches that build, a culture and a belief in a system. And I think that's what Dan Campbell does the best, with the Lions. And just the overall, year-to-year improvement that we saw, out of Campbell and, the Lions bouncing back from a tough loss to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago, to responding and winning the NFC North, beating the Vikings in a huge primetime spot last season, to win the division, and unfortunately getting really banged up by the Commanders in the playoffs. But
there was no punts
Lions,
in that game,
which is incredible for a playoff game. But once again, it's all back to that talent discussion, and the Lions have a bunch of talent on this roster. I mean, not to say that the other teams in the NFC North don't, but I think the Lions are going to be right back in this discussion come the end of the year. And I feel like the whole experience factor too, about how, they've been down this road before already. They've still brought back a lot of that roster, and I think that they're in a really good position to win this division again. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of good games on this schedule, and the Micah Parsons trade now makes the Lions-Packers Thanksgiving Day battle that much more enticing, which is, by the way, one of the most elite slates we've ever seen for a holiday in the NFL between that Chiefs, Cowboys, and Bengals, Ravens. I mean, what could be a better triple header? But yeah, I think I'm going to side with the Lions here, but it's a really wide open division. I'll just put that out there. Like, I could see the Packers or even the Bears winning this division this year. I could. I don't know about the Vikings, but definitely a lot of contenders in this corner of the NFC this year.
So we are different here. So you said you don't know about the Vikings, but I know about the Vikings. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings to win this division.
Wow.
I'm going to do it because last year, so J.J. McCarthy gets hurt and Sam Darnold steps in. Now, we didn't really know what to expect out of Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold went out there and had a career year, ends up getting paid, going to the Seahawks. It's really a credit to Kevin O'Connell and this coaching staff and what they're able to do, that you can really put in any quarterback like Sam Darnold. I mean, even go back to a couple years ago. I know it didn't last very long, but even Josh Dobbs was succeeding in that system too. I just think with this team, they are just loaded from top to bottom. They improved on the defensive line and especially on the offensive line, because the offensive line just got overwhelmed in the last two games between the Lions in the regular season finale and in the opening round of the playoffs against the Rams. I mean, they were just overwhelmed. I mean, Sam Darnold also didn't do himself any favors, but he just was not getting the protection that he needed in those games. And the Vikings went out and they upgraded on the interior. And I just think, like I said, from top to bottom, the defense is very good. Brian Flores has done really well coaching up that defense. I think it's going to be, a defense to be reckoned with this season again. And I know we have not seen J.J. McCarthy play a snap in a meaningful NFL game yet. But I just think when you look at the talent around him, I know Jordan Addison is suspended for the first few games, but they just traded for Adam Thielen. I know Adam Thielen's 35 years old, but he's still got gas left in the tank. You got him.
He's still
Yeah,
consistent.
you got T.J. Hawkinson for the whole year now, coming back from the ACL injury from a couple years ago, and you have the best receiver in the NFL, arguably, in Justin Jefferson. And on top of that, you traded for Jordan Mason, traded a fourth-round pick. You get him from the 49ers, and he was leading the league in rushing before he got hurt. And you pair him up with Aaron Jones. That is going to be very important, having that running back duo behind, essentially a guy that's coming in. This is his rookie season. So I just think they have so much around him. You got Kevin O'Connell there. I just think this team, right now on paper, is the best. It's going to come down to how J.J. McCarthy plays. So, if he ends up not playing well, then, this isn't gonna work. They did bring in Carson Wentz, so they could go to him, if they want. But I'm just saying that, but as a joke. But yeah, it is a bit of a gamble, but I just think the Vikings have the best roster in this division, and I think with the Lions, I think will still be a very good team. I still have them making the playoffs, but I think between losing your two coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, I think also with the fact that Frank Ragnow is retired, their center, I think that's going to take a huge hit. And Jared Goff needs to be protected. If he doesn't have protection, then he crumbles. So I think that's going to be an issue. We'll see how Aiden Hutchinson is coming back from his horrific leg injury that he suffered earlier in the year last year against the Cowboys. But yeah, I just think the pieces that they've lost, I think are going to make a difference. But again, I think the Lions are still going to be a very good team, but I'm going to put the Vikings ahead of them. I'm going to say they win the NFC North.
Wow, I like it, Kenny. You got to go bold sometimes with these picks. I don't mind it. I don't mind that at all.
And I'm going to say this. I don't think that's the boldest thing I have. I still got one more.
No. Oh no!
Gotta save it though. Gotta save it for the night for the other conference for the AFC.
On a mission. He's on a mission.
All right, so you got the Lions. I got the Vikings. Okay, so now let's go to the NFC South. I don't know if we're gonna be different here, but I'll start. I'm gonna pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this division once again. It's been their division since Brady got there, and there was the transfer of power from Brady to Baker to Tampa Bay, and I think that's just going to continue. I do worry about the Bucs defense. Their offense is one of the best in the league, and they got better. They drafted Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, and they're really going to need him because Chris Godwin's out, and now Jalen McMillan is going to be out for the first 4 games of the season. So they're going to need Egbuka to step up behind Mike Evans. And Baker Mayfield has been talking him up. Mike Evans has been talking him up. So, yeah, he could be the real deal. And Mike Evans is still doing it. Has not had a season where he hasn't had 1,000 yards. Very close to not happening last year, but they were able to get it the final game of the season despite him missing like 4 or 5 games with the hamstring injury. They got Bucky Irving going into year 2. He was very good for them last year running the football. That just adds another dimension to this offense. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, this is his home. And, he's played really well these first couple of seasons in Tampa. Could be getting another contract there. Really happy for him that he was able to find another home after what transpired over in Cleveland. Then he goes to Carolina. Then he's with the Rams. He had a cup of coffee with the Rams. Now he has found his permanent home in Tampa. With the other teams in this division, the Saints, we were talking about it before we started here. They're not going to be very good. They're going to be arguably one of the worst teams in football. The Panthers, I think, are going to be better, but I think they're still ways away from really competing. But that's not to say that they can't give their divisional opponents, a tough time, because they did beat the Falcons last year at the end of the year, and they also, lost a tough game to Tampa in overtime. They lost some close games. The 2 teams that played in the Super Bowl, the Panthers played them really tough. They were up against the Chiefs. Chiefs, of course, came back and won that. And then against the Eagles, they had a chance to knock the Eagles off in Philly as well. So they're definitely going to be better. But I still think they still got some ways to go. The Falcons, they're gonna be a tough out. They're gonna be a tough out. I think that's what it's gonna come down to. Is going to be between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The Falcons actually swept the season series last year. Didn't matter. Bucks were still able to win it. Now, of course, you got Michael Penix coming in. It's going to be his first full year starting, and I think they're gonna be tough. And they actually do play each other the first week of the season, so in Atlanta. So we'll see how that game goes. But I'm still gonna go with Tampa. I think it's their division to lose. So that's my pick for the NFC South.
Yep, I'm right with you. I think Tampa Bay is the best team in this division. Um, not by as wide of a margin as I think the Eagles will be in the East this year, but they have one of the most exciting rosters. I mean, you mentioned it specifically with Emeka Ibuka. Like, Ibuka was fantastic at Ohio State. I mean, I watch a good chunk of college football, and he's been on my radar as somebody that could really be primed for the NFL. And I'm really excited to see what he proves in that wide receiving core this season for the Bucks. I mean, when they're fully healthy, I mean, you get Godwin, Evans, McMillan, and Ibuka all together. To me, that is one of the scariest, groups in the entire NFL. Like this core has a lot to really fall back on, and I think the Bucks have a lot of depth and a lot of versatility when it comes to what they have on their roster this season. I mean, like you said, the Falcons I think will be their challenger this year because the Saints aren't going to be anywhere near the top of anything, and the Panthers.
Well, maybe as the number one pick.
Well, that's right. That's about it. They'll be at the top of the draft board, but everything else they will be close to dead last. So I mean, and it's I don't know. Like, I just think that this is a good opportunity for Tampa Bay this season, especially and with week one, like you said, the Falcons. This will be the litmus test. Like, we'll see, where this team is truly going to be at, and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, ever since Tom Brady went there, the Bucks have been the best team in that division. It's just funny how that works. Wherever Tom Brady goes, usually success follows.
Well, we'll see what happens now with the Raiders.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with the Raiders? I mean, I'm excited to see how Ashton Genty does, this year out there. But yeah, I guess the Tom Brady effect is a real thing. But this is a really good football team, I think, this year. And I think double-digit wins will certainly be in the cards for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right. So now we're going to go to our wild card teams. So would you?
Well, wait a minute.
Wait.
Wait a minute.
Oh wait, we forgot the West. Sorry. We skipped over the NFC West. Sorry, everybody. So I don't have any wild card teams coming out of that division. So with the NFC West, would you like to start?
Sure, I will. My pick's going to be the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just think that this is going to be a big-time bounce-back season. I believe it. I'm buying in again. It was tough to pick them over the Rams because I think the Rams are going to be the second-place team in this division and a wild-card team. Spoiler, that's going to be one of my wild-card teams. I just cannot envision the 49ers having a 6-11 season again. And I mean, obviously everybody hopefully will be fully healthy this year and they can actually, make a good run. But I don't know, like Kyle Shanahan, is it fair to say that he's going into the season with a little bit of heat underneath him on that hot seat?
I think that's fair to say.
I think he's got a little bit of that going on. So I think he's facing the pressure. Obviously, Brock Purdy facing the pressure now after, on the heels of that big contract, of course, that he's got now. And, you have Christian McCaffrey. If Christian McCaffrey is healthy, he is still one of the top 5, maybe even the top 3 running backs in all the NFL. And that, the 49ers, to me, have always been a fun and exciting team to watch. And it definitely still haunts them that they came up just a bit short 2 years ago against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And then the Super Bowl hangover hit them hard last year, and didn't really work out. But this is another intriguing division. The NFC has a lot of, I think, open. It's going to be very open this year in the NFC. Let's just say that across the board. Like, there are a bunch of different teams, who are either going to overperform or underperform that, we don't really know right now, just because we're going into the season and we're almost flying blind with what to expect and things like that. But I'm going to go back to the 49ers here just because I think, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Core's back at it again. Obviously, no more Deebo Samuel, but which will be a loss. But I'm going to go back to old reliable here, and I think the Shanahan offensive schemes and everything gets back to life this year out in the Bay Area.
Yeah, so I like everything you said. I do like the 49ers team. I do like the structure, the players on the team. I really wanted to see these guys win a ring, and they had a couple of opportunities to do that, but they unfortunately would lose to the same team, Kansas City Chiefs. With that being said, though, I'm still going to go with the Rams. There is a bit of a gamble, though, because of Stafford and, the back issue. Don't know. I mean, he's practicing. He's going to play, but, if he takes one hit in the wrong spot, then that's going to completely derail their season. But I'm taking the Rams to win this division. Their defense, with no Aaron Donald, vastly improved throughout the season with the young players on the defensive line. Got better and better, and they really had the Eagles on the ropes. I mean, they came very close to knocking them off in the divisional round. So sorry, everybody. I had to edit this out, but my smoke alarm started going off. So that was an indication. Don't pick the Rams to win this division. But anyways, I am going to pick them to win the division. I am worried about Stafford's injury, but if he's healthy, this Rams team is going to be very good. I brought up the defense. They had the Eagles on the ropes in the playoffs. They almost knocked them off. Stafford's playing really good football. They didn't trade Cooper Kupp, but they essentially traded Cooper Kupp, and they acquired Devontae Adams, which I think is an upgrade over this current version of Cooper Kupp. I think Devontae Adams still has some juice left in the tank. And opposite of Puka Nacua, that is a great 1A, 1B. And then you also have Tyler Higbee at the tight end spot, which I think he's an underrated player on this team. I think he makes the difference in this offense. And then, of course, you have Kyren Williams, who's one of the more underrated running backs in the NFL. He's underappreciated, can catch passes, can do everything. So, I mean, the offensive line dealt with a lot of injuries last year. I mean, they dealt with a lot of injuries in general. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp both got hurt the first couple games of the season. The offensive line got ravaged with injuries. But it didn't matter. Rams were still able to turn it around and make it in. And they got one of the best head coaches in the NFL in Sean McVay. I'm taking the Rams to win this division. I mean, if Stafford gets hurt, then you got to put in Jimmy Garoppolo, which, hey, Garoppolo's played in the Super Bowl, and it's kind of funny how him and Devontae Adams are now on the same team after, being with the Raiders and how that relationship worked there. But if Stafford plays, and Stafford has played through injuries, he's one of the toughest quarterbacks in the NFL. So, I'm still going to take the risk, take the Rams, but if Stafford gets hurt, it could really hurt their season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said again, I think this division is pretty open. With those top two teams, it's going to be a battle between the 49ers and the Rams.
What about Seattle? You like Seattle?
I'm not loving Seattle.
Okay.
Not loving them. I mean, I think the talent's there. Obviously, excited to see Cooper Kupp in that offense now. Speaking of former Ram, that reunion is going to be interesting to see. Decent defense too in Seattle, but I don't know. I can't see the Seattle winning more than 7 or 8 games. They'll probably be right around, the bubble come December. But I don't know. I would say they miss everything, division and playoffs.
Okay. Okay. No Cardinals either. Not high on that.
Mm,
I mean, I
Not
feel
really.
like they're going to do what they typically do. Like they'll play well in the beginning of the season. You're like, wow, Kyler's looking really good, and then all of a sudden everything falls apart at the end of the year, like it always does.
Yeah, that's a typical Arizona Cardinals season for you. Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's all right.
I did like that they improved the defensive line because
It did,
they added Josh Sweat over from the Eagles. They
which
also
is a big.
they drafted some defensive linemen as well. So they made some upgrades. And
They're
Marvin
trending
Harris.
up.
Yeah, yeah, they're
They're
trending
trending
up.
up.
James Conner continues to run the football well for them. Trey McBride, another underrated player, one of the best tight ends in the league. Marvin Harrison Jr. going into year two, put on some muscle this offseason. He's looking to have a better year in year two. So I mean, yeah, there's talent there. But I still think the Rams are the best team in that division, and I think they're going to be the only team that makes the playoffs from that division. All right, so now we go to the wild card teams. I jumped the gun there before, so this is why I have my co-host. Everybody, they redirects everything, gets everything back on the tracks. If we start to derail a little bit, well, he couldn't
Yeah, I
help me with
can't
he
imagine.
couldn't help me with the smoke alarms, but at least
Well, that part I can't help you. You're 100 miles away,
yeah.
so I can't really.
Yeah. There's really nothing you could do. You just provide moral support. But let's go to the wild card teams. So I actually am going to have every team from the NFC North make the playoffs. So that would be the Lions. Well, I had the Vikings win the division. So I have the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears all making the playoffs. Now, is that going to happen? Well, we'll see. But I didn't want to have the same playoff teams. So the Commanders won't be in because they made it last year. Um, the Lions, look, I still think despite losing their coordinators and Frank Ragnow retiring, I think they're still a very good team. Jared Goff, I mean, I'm very happy for him that he was able to turn it around. The Rams essentially gave him up to get Stafford. I mean, honestly, that trade ended up working out for both teams. The Lions have become this very this powerhouse team. They got ravaged by injuries last year, particularly on the defense. I mean, they were missing so many starters, and that really showed in the playoff game against the Commanders, although Jared Goff also turned the ball over several times. But Goff has played very well since being traded over to Detroit. They got a very good running back tandem, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Jamison Williams, he's been looking very good. Last year, he really showed out. And the Lions supposedly are going to be throwing the ball more downfield, so that's going to really benefit him. Sam Laporta kind of took a step back in year two, but he's still a quality tight end. And like I said, we got to see how Aiden Hutchinson looks coming back off the injury. But this Lions team has so much talent. It's hard for me to see them not making the playoffs. So I got them making it in as the first wild card. Second wild card, well, again, I told you, it's everybody in the NFC North. The Green Bay Packers. So they were another team that I was kind of on the fringe because they other than the Micah Parsons deal, they really, to me, didn't do anything that really moved the needle and to say, wow, the Packers vastly improved from last year. They really didn't do that until they got Micah Parsons. Like, they lost Jair Alexander, and they replaced him. Jordan Love last year I think took a step back, but I think that had a lot to do with the fact that he's hurt. Now he's dealing with a bit of a thumb issue this year, so that's not good. But the receiving core, I thought the receiving core was going to take another step forward, kind of took a step back. No one really took over that number one receiver role, which led to the Packers doing something that I hadn't done since the early 2000s. I think, what was it, like 2002, whatever? It was take a wide receiver in the first round, and that was Matthew Golden. And Matthew Golden has really been impressing, and let's see what he does now in the regular season. So if it's him, That's great. Packers got their number one wide receiver. I like what Tucker Kraft did last year for them at the tight end spot. And I really like what Josh Jacobs did running the football. Josh Jacobs was very good last year. And they kind of, revolved the offense around him at times. I want to see the Packers be more of a balanced team this year. And that means Jordan Love has got to be better throwing the football, limiting the turnovers. And if he could do that, and he could shake this injury that he's dealing with, this offense is going to be good. This offense is going to be good. Matt LaFleur is still a good play caller. So, there's the offense. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you add Micah Parsons to go along with Luke Van Ness, and you still got Rashawn Gary. A little worried about the secondary, losing Jair Alexander, even though he didn't play that much last year. I mean, they got Bo Melton, who was a receiver. Was trying out a corner. But Xavier McKinney, I mean, what a year he had. I wish the Giants still had him, but Giants let him walk. He had a very good year. It seemed like he had an interception every single game. He was unbelievable. That was a slam dunk. The Packers had a very good free agency last year, getting Jacobs on offense and getting McKinney on defense. So, this Packers defense, now you add Micah Parsons. I mean, it was a solid unit, but now you bring over a guy that can get after the passer. I think that's going to make everybody around Micah Parsons better. So, I think the Packers, they're guaranteed to get, between 10 and 11 wins, and I think that's good enough to get them into the playoffs. So, that definitely would be good enough to get them into the playoffs. So I got them, and then I got the Chicago Bears making it as well. Again, a little bit of a gamble based off of how they did last year, but I do agree with this. I think everything changed for them when they lost that game to the Commanders on the Hail Mary, because I think at that point, before obviously that happened, the Bears were going to be, I think at that point they were going to be 5-2, if I'm not mistaken, or 5-3, and I feel like that loss. What was it?
I think 5-3.
Yeah. So I really do think that kind of just caused the derailment of that season, because then they didn't win another game until the final game of the regular season, I believe, which was against the Packers in Lambeau.
And let's not forget one of the worst disasters of the regular season.
The Thanksgiving game.
Malpractice with the clock management on Thanksgiving Day.
And I rewatched the highlights of that game recently. I could not believe that. And I remember I was in my car. We were going to my grandma's. I'm watching the game on my phone. And even I'm saying, call a timeout. Call a timeout. What are you doing? And they just let it tick all the way down. And they ended up losing the game. But hey, they covered at least. They covered.
They did.
That's all I really care about, was they covered the 10.5 for the spread pool, which will be coming back as well. But that was horrible. And then they got blown out by the 49ers, and it's just, Caleb Williams was the most sacked quarterback in the league. I think he did 67 sacks last year. I mean, that is just, I'm surprised he made it out. Seriously. And he took some vicious hits in that Thanksgiving game too. I don't know if you remember when he was going towards the sideline and he got hit and his legs got caught underneath him. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Even Jim Nantz was like, oh, no. Like, they thought it was going to be a significant injury. But they improved the offensive line. Got a couple guys, or a few guys. They also drafted Colston Loveland, another tight end. I think Rome Odunze is going to have a big year, too. You still got DJ Moore. You got DeAndre Swift coming out of the backfield. Ben Johnson, I think, is going to be much better than Matt Eberflus. Even though Matt Eberflus can coach a defense, but they need to improve that offense. And I think in year 2, Caleb Williams is going to look like a different guy. You saw it a little bit in the preseason game against the Bills, and I know you don't want to overreact, but it was kind of an overreaction. That was honestly the best I ever saw Caleb Williams look. Really, he looked comfortable. I mean, you only saw the tight ends involved in that drive against the Bills, Loveland and Cole Kmet. But, I mean, if you get that Caleb Williams and you could protect him, and he could, create plays by himself, some off-script plays. You saw that a lot last year. I think the Bears, and they got the defense is not bad. I think they're going to find a way to get in. I think they will find a way to get in. And they're going to be a thorn in the side of the teams in the division. So, I'm gonna take the Bears. I'm gonna say every team in the NFC North makes it. Now, it might not happen, but hey, somebody's got to do it. So why not me?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we're right in line with the Bears. I mean, that's how I view the Bears because like probably going to be one that sneaks in with the last spot, you know, and fights enough to make a wild card spot. And like you said, you really outlined it all. But Ben Johnson especially, like I'm very excited to see what he's going to do, getting his chance now post Detroit era, and what he did with that offense. Incredible mastermind that he is. Um, so the ceiling's very high for the Bears, and like I said, I'm very excited to see Colson Loveland and Luther Burden this year.
That's right, the other receiver.
Two really strong rookies from this class that I think can really make a splash on this team. But that remains to be seen. Obviously, like you said, DJ Moore and Rome Odunze will be taking plenty of targets this season from Caleb Williams. In no order though with these other two, I'm thinking the Packers get in as a wild card because, of course, I have the Lions win the division. And then I'm going to go back to the Commanders. I think the Commanders can still be capable enough in this conference to get a wild card. It was tough for me to pick the Bears, I will say, over the Falcons, because I think the Falcons actually might have a chance, to get a wild card spot this year. Lot of hype around Bijan Robinson, of course. He's going number 1 or number 2 in almost every fantasy draft that I've seen.
I'll see what happens tonight in mine.
Hey,
I won't be getting him at the 107. I can tell you that.
No, you won't. You definitely won't. And obviously the first full year of Michael Penix, which will be nice. I mean, really a slap in the face to Kirk Cousins, by the way. I don't know if
I know
really
he's still on
that.
the team.
He's still on the team. Yep, he's still there, and they paid him $100 million for
Guaranteed.
1 year.
Yep.
Yeah, guaranteed money. I mean, I'm sure Kirk Cousins is happy about the money, but I'm just sure he's not pleased about.
Maybe he gets traded in the middle of the year. That could be something.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking because if the Falcons are really sold on Penix, why is Kirk Cousins sitting on the bench there? Kirk Cousins is a viable starting option for some of these other teams out there. I mean, you don't think the Saints could use Kirk Cousins?
I mean, I don't think they would. I don't think they would trade him within the division, though.
This is true, though. This is true. I mean, intra-division trades would be really, yeah. But I mean, there are teams out there that need a starting quarterback. I mean, Kirk Cousins shouldn't be sitting on a bench. I don't care if he's getting older.
I mean, he did look pretty rough, in the middle of the year last year before he got benched.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny, though, because he had a game where he threw for 500 yards.
Right. Was that the game against the Eagles where he led the comeback? Or was that a different
No. Well, he did lead the comeback, but he didn't. No, it was the game against Tampa on that Thursday night. They won in overtime.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he threw for 500 yards in that game.
That game was a shootout. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, but those would be my 3 though: Packers, Bears, Commanders. Falcons just missing the cut in my opinion. I think they'll have a chance to make some noise in a viable NFC South division because it's literally only going to be the Bucs and the Falcons, I think. But
watch the Panthers just win the division out of spite.
I think the Panthers are trending upward.
No, they are. Yeah.
I'm excited to see how Teterow and McMillan's going to look.
Yeah, I love how you're bringing up guys from your fantasy team, McMillan and Genty before. I mean, you just.
Well, these are all great guys.
You just want them to help. You just want them to do well in week 1 because you're playing me.
Yes, and manifesting everything. That's right. You cracked the code, Kenny. No, but a guy who had really great hands in college, T-Mac, as they call him. He made some ridiculous catches at Arizona. So another rookie in this class that I'm really excited to see. I think that's the best part about the first couple of weeks of the season is while you're trying to figure out if everyone's good, you're trying to see which rookies are going to stand out from the rest and really make their impact. So that's what I like the most about the first weeks of the season. But yeah, those would be the 7. Eagles, Lions, Bucks, Niners win the divisions. Packers, Commanders, Bears in the wild card.
Okay.
No order. but those would be the 7.
Yeah, so I got Eagles, Vikings, Bucks, the Rams, and then I have Lions, Packers, Bears.
I
All NFC North.
I like that you're going bold. I have a lot of the favorites, and that's not a good sign.
Well, who knows?
Not a
I mean,
good
people see this or hear this, and they go, "Oh, this guy's taking the Vikings to win the division? What? With the guy that's never played in the NFL yet? Come on."
Well, I mean, yeah, that was kind of my thing too. It's like this is the first time we'll see JJ McCarthy, so I just don't know.
I'm not down. You know what it is? It's me not doubting
lot.
Kevin O'Connell. It's me putting all my eggs in the Kevin O'Connell basket.
Yeah, and it's a good basket to put your eggs in because Kevin O'Connell's really good. You know?
So, all right, now let's move over to the AFC. And like I said, I'm going bold with one of these divisions.
I'm very curious to see which division this is going to be.
Well, it's the AFC East. I'm taking the Patriots now. With the AFC East, we're taking the Buffalo Bills. I mean, it's again their division to lose. I mean, they have run this division for years, and it's going to continue. The Dolphins, there's a lot of turmoil going on over there. There's not a lot of good vibes going on over there right now. And I think, I mean, listen, if Tua could stay healthy, they're going to win some games. But I'm not high on the Dolphins going into this year. I think this could be it for Mike McDaniel. I was pretty high on Mike McDaniel the first couple of years, but yeah, it really has gone downhill. And again, not all of it is his fault because Tua's gotten hurt. But yeah, it's just vibes aren't very good. The Jets, look, they're in a transition period. I hope Aaron Glenn's the right guy. You know, watching the preseason, there's definitely things that they had to clean up in terms of the penalties. If they could stop that, they're heading in the right direction because they're always like one of the more penalized teams in the league. But they're going to be a different kind of team running the football with Justin Fields. Curious to see how that goes, and we'll see if he could turn the defense around because the defense took a massive step back from 2023. Because 2023 they were like a Super Bowl caliber defense, and then last year they just took a step back, and then Robert Saleh gets let go, and they weren't coached. They weren't coached, and Jeff Ulbrich, was in over his head, going from the defensive coordinator to the head coach, and he just couldn't do it. And then for the Patriots, I do think the Patriots are going to be an improved team. I think they could definitely double their win total from last year. I like the Vrabel hiring. Drake May looked good last year, and they definitely have improved this team around him. They added some more weapons. They got Stephon Diggs. You draft Travion Henderson, so and the defense is usually good. They added a lot of pieces to that side of the ball this offseason. So I do think the Patriots will be improved, but I still think they are a little bit. They're a year or two away. I'd say a year away from truly competing in the AFC. And the AFC is just a gauntlet. So, I don't think they're winning the division. Now you got to compete in the wild card. I just think there's too many teams to compete with. So, I think they're at least a year away from really competing. Another good draft, another good free agency period, and then I think, we can have a conversation. I actually also wanted to bring this up, too, with the Patriots. Their former coach. Did you watch the UNC game the other night?
So bad. And when I say that is one of the worst college football games I've seen in a long time, I really mean it. It was so bad that Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit was giving his dog Peter the headset.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Because there was nothing remotely interesting about that fourth quarter. Did you see the stadium was like 90% empty with 10 minutes left in the game?
That's unbelievable.
Everybody was gone.
And it's amazing because I turned the game on. They go right down the field. On their first drive, and everybody's tweeting, "Oh man, this UNC is back, Coach Belichick, all that." And then it just went completely off the rails after that. And they changed quarterbacks. UNC.
And TCU opened the second half with that 75-yard touchdown run. It was UNC gave up almost 550 total yards.
I can't believe
defensively. That is just as embarrassing.
I can't believe that.
Now all of a sudden, so UNC's got the classic bye game coming up this weekend where they got they play the Charlotte 49ers out of the American Conference.
Right.
So if they lose to Charlotte, I mean, just pack it up, Bill. It's all over. They lose this game.
I know it's just
So,
Belichick is out of football for a year, right? He's on all these different shows. Then he takes the job with UNC. It's like, all right, this is the first time in a couple of years we're seeing Bill Belichick coach a game of football, and that happens.
yeah, it's got to be. I can't remember if it's the worst loss of his career, but it's definitely one of the worst.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, when you lose by 34 your opening game, that's not very good.
Yeah.
And the fact that UNC got standalone Labor Day night, prime time on ESPN, and put up that result, that's not going to bode well for your future. So
yeah. But you know what? I think
searching.
I think like a lot of things, we just got to let it play out, because you also have now that doesn't mean that UNC is going to turn it around and go and make the college football playoff and win the national championship. No, but it's one game. It's one game. All right. Let's see how the season plays out. It's the same thing with Arch Manning. Everybody's off the Arch Manning train after his, rough, well, not debut, but like, the rough opener against Ohio State. You're playing against the defending national champions. All right, in their home stadium. All right. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, everybody.
Right. And Julian Sayin, who's a 5-star recruit quarterback as well, that everybody kind of just overlooked. Like, well, he's there, but
yeah.
Everybody's like, Arch. Everybody's talking about Arch Manning all week. And it's like, great. I mean, I'm glad he actually had a decent fourth quarter, but way too little, too late. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
also you had, they got stuffed at the goal line. They went for it on 4th and goal. They got stuffed. I mean, and there was one, he had an easy first down, and it kind of like sidearmed the pass, and the receiver ended up dropping it. That was a big play in the game. So, I mean, listen, Texas is still very good. I mean, those are the two of the best teams in the country. So
they will.
But it's one game. It's one game, everybody. Come on.
Yeah, the media is already going off on the train about, well, is Texas' season over? It's like it's the first week of the season.
You think that's bad? Wait till we get to the first week of the NFL. We get to tomorrow, and then what happens on Friday, and then Sunday. I mean, there's going to be so many overreactions.
Yeah, so just wait till the Cowboys go into Philadelphia, upset the Eagles, and then everybody's like, "Wow, are the Eagles in trouble?"
Yeah.
It's like,
can't wait for that. Yeah, but all right. So AFC East. Sorry, we this is what happens. Everybody
really went off the rails.
I know I said the co-host gets us back on the rails. Well, we're back off the rails now.
All right.
So just say the Bills and let's move on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm in lockstep with you. It's the Bills. What's funny is that this is another year where the East divisions are the easiest locks to me. I mean, it's just I can't see anybody else winning this division. I mean, yeah, great. The Dolphins got Minkah Fitzpatrick back. Okay, cool, great, good for them. The Patriots went out in the offseason, spent a lot of money, got a lot of money. Yeah, they got a lot of good acquisitions. Great, whatever. There's this guy named Josh Allen. You heard about him? But now the real question is,
he's now married. Don't forget.
It's year after year after year. When will the Bills actually get beyond the Chiefs and get to a Super Bowl? Like, is it ever going to happen? I don't know. I mean, these two play each other in November. We're going to have a real good...
Well, they own them in the regular season. They just can't beat them in the postseason.
Exactly. That's the difference. I mean, the Bills just can't do it for some reason right now. I mean, and, say what you want, if you put the chip in the ball, maybe Josh Allen did get the first down last year, whatever. It didn't matter in the end. Whatever. The Chiefs won the game. But this team will win the division again. Let's just get to that point, because it's just there's no battle. Bills are minus 280 right now at FanDuel Sportsbook to win the division. I mean, if you're putting your money anywhere else, you're a fool. Sorry. Bills are winning the East. It's pretty clear.
All right. Now let's move on to the AFC South. Okay. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be different here. Could be the same. Why don't you start?
Mike. Oh, put me in the spotlight.
Well, I'm trying to.
AFC
Well, I'm
South.
trying to do. I start, then you start, then I start.
Okay. I see what your method is here. Um, I'm going to go back to the well in the AFC South with the Houston Texans.
All right, we're not gonna be different.
Okay, there you go. That
I
gives
was
that
I
away.
was thinking, is he gonna take the Jags? Daniel Jones?
Well,
Danny
well, I,
Dimes?
I was thinking
Colts?
about the Jaguars. I was thinking about it. But I don't know. I can't see Jacksonville taking down this team. I mean, I think CJ Stroud is in for another, great season. I mean, he was awesome. He was awesome in Houston last year, and I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that you know you keep your eye on, and you're really curious to see what his arc is going to be in this league. I mean, I think D'Amico Ryan's. It's nice that the Texans have finally found a coach, that stays there longer than a year, because D'Amico Ryan's is that guy. I mean, and he's another one who's built a strong culture there, and they did get their win last season against the Chargers in the wild card. So I mean, um, are the Texans going to be up there at the end? No, I mean, of course not. Like, as you'll see as we progress through these AFC picks, there's the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, who are always the three that you pencil in somewhere. I mean, and they're in that elite tier in terms of the AFC. And then everybody else kind of just straggles behind. So, like, the Texans will probably end up being the fourth division winner again this year. But, I mean, I don't know. I can't see the Jaguars having enough to win this division, although they're a very interesting team to watch with Travis Hunter. And that's why I think the Jaguars are going to be my final wild card team in the
Wow.
AFC.
Okay.
I think that team is intriguing. They have great upside, like I said, between Ryan Thomas, Travis Hunter, Travis Etienne behind Trevor Lawrence. It's a good offense. It's a good
It is a good
offense.
offense. And Liam Cohen there,
Yep. Yeah,
did
I
very
mean
well in
Liam Cohen.
Tampa.
Yeah, we don't know much about Liam Cohen in a head coaching role yet. Of course not. But I think it's good that he's got a chance. His Duval, it's going to be scary for the rest of the year to think about. But yeah, it's a new era in Jacksonville, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think my heart's going to lie with the Texans to win this division. It's going to be a closer battle than we think. And yeah, obviously, the Titans have Cam Ward, and there's a bit more hype, at least in Tennessee, to see what happens. But they're just probably going to go from 4 wins to 6 wins this year. That's about it for them. Oh yeah, and then you also mentioned about Daniel Dimes Jones. I don't know. I don't think the Colts are going to be that spectacular either.
They did win 8 games last year.
They did. They did. You can't fault them there, but I don't know. I mean, I hope for Daniel Jones' sake, as a Giants fan, I hope for his sake that he actually finds success, because I'd like to believe that it was just the system that he wasn't good in, and the New York market. And, we've seen guys like Devin Williams who can't perform in big markets like that right now. But, I don't know. Like, I just hope for his sake that he finds something in Indianapolis and can actually build off it for his career. But that's water under the bridge now. He's not a New York Giant anymore. But yeah, Texans win the AFC South.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take the Texans. They got the best defense in the division. I think that's the biggest part. I do worry a little bit about the offense because, between, Tank Dell being out for the year, Stephon Diggs not coming back. He also got hurt. I mean, they got ravaged by injuries last year. I mean, the offensive line wasn't very good. Nico Collins was hurt. Diggs was hurt. Tank Dell has that horrific injury against the Chiefs. And, yeah, he's not going to play this year. So they drafted a couple of Iowa State Cyclones. They did that. They traded for Christian Kirk. There's going to be no Joe Mixon. I don't know what the deal is with this foot injury, but the GM was talking about him not really being optimistic about him playing this year or something like that. So we could see Nick Chubb stepping in and being the lead back because now Chubb is over there. I thought Stroud took a little bit of a step back last year as opposed to his promising rookie season. And they also traded Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders, which, the offensive line was a weakness last year. Now you just made it even worse by trading your best offensive lineman. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But having said that, I still think this is the best team. I think the Jags, they're going to be better. And they're not that far removed from controlling this division and winning it. But I just think the defense is still a major question mark. Trevor Lawrence has to go out there and prove it. I mean, he's got now Travis Hunter in there with Brian Thomas Jr., who had a fantastic rookie season. So we'll see how that goes. The offensive line is also an issue with the Jaguars. I don't see the Colts really competing, even though they won 8 games last year. Although, I do like the roster. I do like some of the moves they made this offseason. I like the trio of wide receivers they have. They got Jonathan Taylor. I think they'll be like you said. But yeah, I don't expect them to really do anything big this year. And then the Titans, you got a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward, which, he was arguably the best quarterback in this draft. That's why he went number 1 overall. Quarterback position was a huge question mark last year for the Titans between Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. So we'll see what Cam Ward has, but they're ways away from competing for anything. So yeah, I got the Texans winning the division once again.
Yeah, so I guess now I'm gonna turn it back to you, Kenny.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say.
Now, so where do you want to go? AFC West or AFC North?
We'll save the AFC West for last. We'll save the AFC West for last.
Good idea. So now it's your turn to go to the AFC North because I have a feeling we're going to be different here.
Okay.
Feeling.
You're taking the Browns. I like it. Anyways.
Okay, sure.
So I'm gonna go with. I mean, this is pretty easy for me actually. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. This is clearly the best team in the division. Okay. Yeah, I know where you're going. This is clearly the best team in the division. Lamar Jackson was an All-Pro last year. Didn't win the MVP, but that's okay. He got the MVP the year before. Derrick Henry, that was such a home run signing. That was one of the best signings. I mean, if it wasn't for Saquon, Derrick Henry probably would have been the top signing last year. But Derrick Henry, that was such a great fit for him. And I think they just extended him this offseason. I think he's going to have another big year. I mean, this is the right place for him. He's a Raven. He is going to continue to run all over people at the age 31, continuing to defy the odds. They got a pair of good tight ends. Mark Andrews is getting up there in age as well, but he's still productive. Isaiah Likely, actually, I think he's hurt right now, but he's a weapon. You got Zay Flowers, who's pretty good. Rashad Bateman, who they extended, he had a pretty good year last year. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, which not the same DeAndre Hopkins from years ago, but he'll be a red zone threat, which is something the Ravens need, in terms of their pass catchers. But when you got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry coming out of the backfield, I mean, you're like, who are we going to stop? It was a problem last year. And the defense was interesting last year because they were so good against the run. They were the top team at stopping the run, but they were horrible against the pass. But that got better as the year went along. And, through the draft, and they added Jair Alexander in the offseason, which I think was a good move. I think the defense is going to be one solid unit. So I just think this team is primed for a big season once again. No Justin Tucker for reasons. They'll be going into the season with a new kicker. What's his name? Tyler Loop, I think his name is, right? If I'm not, yeah. So new kicker that they drafted. But yeah, this team is loaded top to bottom. I got them winning the division once again.
Yeah, well, we're in lockstep. Okay,
nothing. Never mind. So you were just toying with me. All right.
That's right. That's exactly how we play it here.
Okay.
No, the Ravens are the best. They're the best team in this division, top to bottom. Like you said, great offense. Love the defense. Lamar Jackson is obviously a top quarterback as well. I mean, there's not a lot of flaws on this team. It's the same boat as the Buffalo Bills. When will they prove that they can win it all? Because the Ravens have the talent to win it all. They really do. But once again, there's those pesky Kansas City Chiefs that just keep finding a way every year, and maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the Chiefs. Like, we'll get into it, but there was some big engagement that happened. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe there's some magic working around the Chiefs again this year, but
Yeah.
we're not on the West yet. I think the Bengals are an interesting prospect this year. I mean, look, they won 5 in a row to end the season last year. Maybe they win 5 in a row to get a 10-game winning streak across 2 seasons. Now, I'm just kidding. But look, obviously having Trey Hendrickson back, at least on the deal that he's on right now, is going to be very helpful to that Bengals defense. Because that was the biggest question of the entire offseason defensively. I mean, we heard Trey Hendrickson every day since July, basically like, will he resign? Will he resign? What's going on?
And they were having issues signing their first-round draft choice.
Shamar yeah.
Stewart.
Yep, and that's a whole mess of a situation as well right now.
But I think that's all that got all squared away though.
It did now. It did now. I mean, look. I mean, the Cleveland Browns are so desperate that they're still starting a 40-year-old Joe Flacco.
Hell, yeah.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers are starting a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
I mean, you can take those two teams out of contention. I don't see. I mean, the Steelers have the best upside, I think.
Don't forget, Flacco led them to the playoffs, won comeback player of the year a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I mean, you're going to lose twice to the Ravens and Bengals. There's 4 losses already.
It's not true.
I mean, I don't know.
It's not necessarily true.
Bengals
have a problem playing in Cleveland. They won there last year, but in prior years they hadn't won in Cleveland with Burrow.
It's like the Yankees have old timers day. Like in baseball, it's like this is like the old timers year in the AFC North. So we're gonna see Flacco versus Rodgers 2 more times.
I know, and those two might not. Well, Flacco especially, Rodgers because if he gets hurt, but yeah, they might not finish the year.
Well, I was just gonna say, knock on wood, they finish the season.
Well, Flacco would be just because like if they want to go to Dylan Gabriel, if they want to go to Shedeur Sanders, whatever.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Cleveland's got options, and it's very interesting that they're not going with Gabriel or Shedeur, but whatever.
Because they want to win games. They want to win games. They think Flacco gives them the best chance.
Look, and I will say, like, I mean, I'm. It's gonna be a little sad. Because this is Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. That's about it from our childhood.
No, don't forget Stafford.
Who else is left?
Don't forget
Stafford. Okay, that's true. Stafford can count too.
And
that's
Russ.
Fine. But I don't know about Russ as much. I feel like Stafford's one of like the last like really like.
Yeah, I would group Russ in there because I mean that was middle school. His rookie season. I remember watching those playoff games against Washington, and then the Falcons. They came back, and then they ended up losing at the end. But yeah, I would throw Russ in there.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, you're gonna find out in a little while. But as if I haven't given it away already, talking about the Ravens. But I mean. Let's just say my Super Bowl pick is from this division. Let's just
Browns.
say that.
Love it. All right. Anyways. All right. Now we have reached the final division. AFC West, Mr. Upson, take it away. What do you got?
Well, let's be real, okay? This division's been run by one team for a long time. And is it going to change this year? I can't see it. I can't see it. I do think the Los Angeles Chargers are a team that's going to be on the heels of this team this year. And do I think the Chiefs will take a mini step back? Probably. But I'm still picking them to win this division. Yeah, like I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs until they lose this division again. I mean, I've been burned way too many times. And it's funny because when I finally warm up to picking the Chiefs in the Super Bowl last year, that did not happen.
Yeah.
Although I did pick them against the 49ers. That's the one time I actually think I've been right on the Chiefs, because I picked the Eagles to beat them in 57, and then I picked the 49ers to beat them in 54. That didn't happen either. So
I was always picking the Chiefs. Win, lose, I was always picking them. So I've been right and wrong.
True. But yeah, look, the Chiefs have won this division, what is it, 9 years in a row now? Right? 9 years, I think it is.
I think so.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot of years. So,
and they've been to an AFC championship game every single year.
Right. So is there any reason to go against this trend? I mean, I'll tell you one thing. If you're in the bandwagon of, the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl with the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce engagement, I mean, this is the best value, quote value. Right as I say that, the Chiefs Super Bowl odds went down. It was just right as I said that. The Chiefs were plus 850 to win the Super Bowl, and now it's plus 800. So I have moved the betting lines, folks. I've seen enough. They're listening in. They're hearing our conversation. But, wow, that was really funny. I've never seen that happen before. But
what are you looking on?
FanDuel.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the Chiefs are 8-1, folks. Right. Like, if you're in that camp and you think the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl, this is the best bang for your buck that you've probably gotten in years, because the Chiefs have always been 6-1, 650, 7-1. They've been in that range. Now they're 800 because the Ravens, Eagles, and Bills are all ahead of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say go out there and smash the Chiefs if you think that they're going to win or not. But I'm telling you, you should put some investment down on it. Just thought. But anyway, that was hysterical that the betting line moved right as I said that. So they're piped in. They're listening to us. But, yeah, I just drafted Patrick Mahomes in one of my, work league fantasy drafts in the 5th round. And like I said, he's a fantastic quarterback. We know that. Of course we know that. And Travis Kelce, I don't know how much is going to be left in the tank for this guy. I mean, I'd like to hope that he has 1, maybe 2 more good years left in him.
Even that.
But I have a feeling he's getting closer to thinking about retirement. He's getting closer because we saw it with Gronk too. It's at the tight end position, like.
I think Gronk could have kept playing. It's just, I mean, how many injuries did he get? Back, knee. I mean, it's just concussions. I mean, everything.
Now, I mean, obviously, the Chiefs won't have Rashee Rice for quite a while. I think it's at least 6 to 8 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's the first 6 games he's suspended.
Obviously, a tough situation going on there with him. But we've seen it time and time again. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes find ways to win. They find ways to win in close games, and they find ways to win with rosters that you don't really think could win all that many games, but they just find a way.
I know they were like 11-0 in 1-score games last year, something like that. It was ridiculous.
Right. Is that going to happen again this year? Probably not, but maybe. The Vikings were in the same boat 2 years ago, right, where they were like.
And then who beat? And then who beat them in the playoffs? Right? Who beat them in the playoffs?
New York Giants.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Who could forget that? In a 1-score game, no less. But yeah, this, like I said, the Chiefs have. I don't know if they have the best defense in the division. I think the Denver Broncos have an interesting case for that. But yeah, like a strong defense, top 3 quarterback in the league, and an all-time head coach who is walking into the Hall of Fame today already, Andy Reid.
With a cheeseburger in hand.
Until this trend breaks, exactly, with a big bacon cheeseburger in hand. Until this trend breaks, I'm with the Chiefs. Seen enough.
make a valid case. I mean, they just been in the AFC Championship game, been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They do it every year. When is it going to end? When is it going to end, you may ask?
Oh no.
I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be taking the Denver Broncos to win the AFC
Wow. Wow.
Taking the Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos. What a pick.
Denver Broncos. They have the best defense in the division. They have the best secondary in the division. And again, a gamble. Bo Nix going into year 2. How is he going to be? He got better and better as the year went along. I loved the Evan Ingram signing. Cortland Sutton, he finally found his quarterback after years of searching for one. Him and Bo Nix have a very strong connection. Marvin Mims has really become a player for them last year. Troy Franklin, who caught the touchdown pass in the playoff game last year. That was when the Broncos got off to that fast start against the Bills. You're like, oh man, this is going to be a close game. And then the Bills blew them out. They drafted R.J. Harvey. They brought in J.K. Dobbins. Running game is going to be vastly improved from last year. I really like the makeup of this team. And you got Sean Payton leading the charge. You got to remember, I know that you could kind of throw the final game of the regular season out the window because the Chiefs were playing their backups. Broncos won like 34-0. But that first game, the Broncos should have won that game, but the Chiefs blocked the field goal. So they should have been 2-0 against the Chiefs last year. They did go 0-2 against the Chargers. That Thursday night game, I mean, they were in control of that game the whole time, and then the Chargers came back and won it at the end. Justin Herbert played really, really well. But I don't know. For me, I want to go against the masses, and this might be the bad time because with Travis Kelce getting engaged, all that. But to me, like, did the Chiefs get any better this offseason? They stayed the same, but that's still not a bad thing because they're the Chiefs. But I just think Travis Kelce, I think his best days are behind him. I gave him one more chance last year, but even in the Super Bowl, he just looked so slow and just I think he's not an elite tight end anymore. I mean he definitely could still be a guy that helps in the running game with blocking, and he'll make plays here and there, but the consistency is not there anymore with Kelce. Rashee Rice being suspended really hurts them. I know they brought back Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, and they brought back Kareem Hunt, and Isaiah Pacheco is hopefully healthy this year. And Xavier Worthy, despite them getting blown out in the Super Bowl, and I know it was in garbage time, he had made some really good plays in that game against the Eagles. And they still got Chris Jones anchoring the defense. They still got some good players on that side of the ball. You got Big Red, Andy Reid. But I just, I think I'm going to say this is the year that it ends, okay? Not like ends completely. Just, they went to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row, okay? All right? It's a fourth time. I mean, I know the NFL would love it if they got back and won it with everything, with, again, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged and all that, but I think it's the Broncos' time. I think it's a different team. I think this is a different time. It's time for somebody else to step up and surpass the Chiefs. And I'll go as far as to say this, too. Not only are they not going to win the division, they won't make it to the championship game. This is the first year they don't make it to the championship game. Be two different teams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you read my mind, Kenny?
No. Do you thinking the same thing? They're not going to the championship game?
Yeah.
All right.
The Chiefs are good enough to win their division, but they're not going to the AFC Championship.
Okay. And you know what? We're going to be sitting here in January.
And we'll be talking about, after a 16-1 season, what a great team they had.
Patrick Mahomes is going to win MVP.
I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be a year too early or something. But yeah, I'm going with the Broncos to win the division.
It's bold. But again, I don't mind. I'm picking a lot of favorites here, as you can see the theme.
I'm trying to deviate from that. I'm trying to be a little different.
I guess I will start with the bombshell here with our wild card predictions. What if I told you I don't have the Denver Broncos in the postseason?
I don't think it's that crazy.
Yeah, I'm more on the Chargers bandwagon. So they're taking up one of my AFC West wildcard spots. And then, as I alluded to earlier, it should be an interesting battle in the AFC North, but I think the Cincinnati Bengals will be the team out of the AFC North that gets the second bid to the postseason. And then last but not least, the Jacksonville Jaguars steal a wild card spot.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very intrigued by all three of those teams this season. I mean, it's tough to leave the Broncos off this list because, as you alluded to, they do have the best defense in the AFC. Like, it's true. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, you can't overlook these three other teams because these are three teams that certainly have high ceilings, in my opinion, this year in the AFC. And I mean, the Bengals, to me, like, I really wouldn't be surprised if they do win the AFC North. Like, they're the team that it's like, it's just a bit of unknown right now. Like, do we know, like, are they going to be better defensively? Because their defense was an area that was really struggling.
Well, I can tell you, when you watch that preseason game against the Commanders, I only know it's preseason, but the Commanders made it look really easy. So it seems like nothing's really changed.
Yeah, so that's not a good sign. But they should still be good enough to get a wild card. Like I said, the Chargers, hey, welcome back, Keenan Allen.
That's right.
Welcome back. Yep. I mean, like another reunion. You got Adam Thielen back in Minnesota, Keenan Allen back in
Amari
LA.
Cooper.
Yeah, like these are some reunions that you probably didn't expect to see in 2025, but yet here we are. So I think the Chargers ceiling is also very high. And then, I mean, the Jaguars, like I said, I think the Jaguars can definitely make a splash this year with the offense that they have. And we already talked about Liam Cohen there, first year as a head coach. It's just too interesting of a storyline, and I almost want to see the Jaguars, I mean, because the last time they were in the postseason, they had a 27-3 comeback.
They did?
Yeah, and there's that iconic video out there of the guy sleeping on his couch, under a blanket, and then he wakes up. His friends wake him up to see the final score, and then he realizes he hit his bet, and he's like going freaking nuts. I mean, like, that was a crazy game. That's one of the craziest postseason games we've had in recent memory. But yeah, something about these AFC South teams, making noise in the postseason, and especially in the wild card. It's like their calling card. Calling card, wild card. And
all right, let's end the podcast now.
Those are my 7: Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs, winner divisions, Bengals, Chargers, Jaguars. No Broncos in the playoffs.
All right. So, I will agree with you on the Chargers. Chiefs will be the top wildcard team, despite not winning the division. Chargers will be my second wildcard team. Another year with Jim Harbaugh. I think the Rashawn Slater injury, that could definitely hurt them. That's the torn patella tendon. That's a huge loss on that offensive line, but they're going to be good at running the football. Different running back room than last year when you had the Gus Bus and J.K. Dobbins. Now you have Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris, who's dealing with that eye issue. I don't know what's going on there, but you got those two guys there. So they're going to run the football effectively. And Ladd McConkey had a very good rookie season. They had Mike Williams come back, and then he retired. And then they brought back Keenan Allen, which I think is going to work out. Keenan Allen, I think, could still play. And him and Herbert still have that strong rapport. So looking forward to that. And the Chargers defense a lot better last year than the year before, and that has a lot to do with Harbaugh being there. So now for my final wild card team, it is not going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. It is not going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. The black and gold, the Pittsburgh Steelers, get in again.
Wow.
Pittsburgh Steelers get in again, 10-7. I'm in the minority for this. I am aware of that. And you could call me out for there being some bias, and that's fine. But the Steelers find a way to make the playoffs every single year, for the most part. And Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season since he became the head coach long ago for this team. This is an older team. You know, they bring in Jalen Ramsey, they bring in big play Slay, and of course they bring in Aaron Rodgers. They trade for DK Metcalf. Um, they paid T.J. Watt. You know, they gave him his money, well deserved. I think this team's gonna find a way, mess around. They win 9-10 games. They get to the playoffs, and wouldn't shock me because it's been a long time. They win their first playoff game since 2016 because it's been a very long time. All right, might be a bit of a stretch, might be a huge stretch, but it's got to happen at some point, right? They got to win a playoff game. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, no, but could they win a playoff game? Could they win a playoff game? It's possible. I think Rodgers is in a better situation because look, the Jets may have had more talent on defense a couple years ago, and you had Garrett Wilson. They traded for Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, all that. But here's the thing: the Jets were a poorly coached team. All right, and you could put the blame on Rodgers. I get it. Rodgers didn't play well at times last year, but part of that was because he got hurt in the middle of the year because he's constantly taking hits. He's a 40-year-old quarterback. He's not the same. His body's not the same as it was 10 years ago. All right, but now you got a team that's actually being coached, that's disciplined, and I think Rodgers is going to have a decent year. Look, you look at the numbers. I know, you don't want to take the numbers and not take into account anything else, taking context. But Rodgers had 28 touchdowns to 6 picks or 4 picks last year. It's pretty good numbers. I think he could do that again this year. And you got Metcalf, you got Pat Freiermuth. They traded for Jonnu Smith. They're expecting big things out of Roman Wilson. They didn't get anything out of him last year. Calvin Austin made plays for them last year. You got Jalen Warren, who you paid. Caleb Johnson, who they drafted. Kenneth Gainwell, they brought in. I mean, you shouldn't say there's no weapons on this team. And I'm curious to see how the relationship between Arthur Smith and Rodgers plays out. But the other thing too is the Steelers also win games off of their defense because their defense gets the ball. They take the ball away. They turn it into scores. They're a good scoring defense. And they also won a game last year when Chris Boswell kicked 6 field goals, everybody. He can also win games for you. So I think all of that combined, this is the swan song for Aaron Rodgers. Possibly. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, all these guys, I think they find a way to get to the playoffs. And maybe this is it for Rodgers, but I think he's going to go out much better than last year. Now, last year he threw his 500th touchdown pass in the final game. He had 4 touchdowns. But, the team finished 5-12. It's going to be different this time. Pittsburgh Steelers are getting in. And you know why I don't have the Bengals in? I just think that defense is still going to be a massive issue. I just think the Bengals are going to have to put up 30, 40 points a game, and their opponents are going to be doing that to them. And I think that's just going to be too much. It's tough for me to leave them out because that's going to be 3 straight years they don't make the playoffs with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. And on top of that, Trey Hendrickson's been holding out this whole time, so now he's coming back. But is he going to be in shape? It's going to take some time for him to really get into shape. They're going to need him. So, I got the Bengals missing the playoffs again because that defense is still going to be a problem. And I think the Steelers are going to get in. So, to run through it, Bills win the East. The Texans win the South. The Ravens win the North. Broncos win the West. And then I got all three, the 3 teams from last year in the AFC West making the playoffs again, except the Chiefs are a wild card team, Chargers are a wild card team, and then I got the Pittsburgh Steelers making it as well.
Wow. I don't think the Steelers is totally outlandish. I think this is a good bold prediction. I mean, like I said, with the addition of Jalen Ramsey defensively, with the addition of DK Metcalf offensively, Aaron Rodgers back at the helm of an NFL team, why not? I mean, who says the Steelers can't? Mike Tomlin and the Steelers always find a way to go 9-8, so they should be at least that, right? Right?
Yeah.
That supposedly.
And they open the season against the New York Jets.
Yeah. How poetic is that?
Yeah.
How poetic is that?
Yeah.
I mean, Jets fans probably not too happy about it, but is what it is. I like it. I do like it. You've gone bold on a few, Kenny. So this is really, really interesting to see how it plays out this season.
Yeah, we're going against the grain. Probably won't work out, but we'll see.
So as we both alluded to, we don't have the Kansas City Chiefs in our AFC Championship. So who would it be? Well, tell you one thing. I got the Ravens taking down the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl. I was alluding to it when we were talking about the Ravens. And the same goes for the Bills. It's really for both teams. It's the battle of who's getting over the hump and who's getting a chance to win a Super Bowl. That's where we're at. Like I said, I expect the Chiefs to finally take a little bit of a step back. Like I said, they're good enough to win their division, certainly. And they will be good enough to probably win a divisional game. But I think they're going to lose out in a close one to either the Bills or the Ravens come the divisional round. But again, the seeding would have to play out that way, so who knows? But this is just what I'm thinking. So, yeah, like I said, with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry on your roster, year 2 of Derrick Henry now. I mean, Derrick Henry's always been a workhorse, and he's always been a very, durable running back in the NFL. I mean, there's no excuses for John Harbaugh. With the roster they have, with the defense that they have, it's just there's no excuse. It has to be now or never. So that's why I have the Ravens winning the AFC over the Bills. I mean, it's tough when you're in a conference where all three of these teams equally have as much firepower, and one of these three usually are the ones coming out in the end from the conference. I mean, but that's why it's intriguing to watch. I mean, it's a great era of quarterbacks right now with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes all together in the same conference playing for bragging rights each year. I mean, it's going to be this way probably for the next 5 years at least. I mean, maybe longer. Somebody's going to eventually break out to the top. I mean, but right now, I don't know. I mean, is it C.J. Stroud? Is it Joe Burrow that's going to get back up there? Justin Herbert? Can the Chargers finally do something? But for right now, it's those three teams. So the Ravens are going to be my pick out of the AFC. What say you?
I am in lockstep with you. I'm going with the Ravens too. I mean, we went over it when talking about the division, but love the roster. I think they improved in the weaknesses of the team from last year, particularly the secondary. I think this is the year they finally get over the hump. I know when they played the Bills last year, Lamar did not play well in the first half, but played really well in the second half. If he just limited the turnovers in that first half, would have been a different outcome, and the Ravens would have moved on. So I think this is the year that they finally do it. So I got them going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. So, were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say, are we going to jump to the NFC now?
Yes.
Well,
and I was going to start.
Start away.
So, again, it's a risk because of injuries, but I really like the Los Angeles Rams to go to the Super Bowl. I think they came very close to knocking off the Eagles. They were very close, and I think had it not have snowed, I think they would have beat them, but that didn't happen. The Eagles won. Defense got better as the year went along. Like I said, you add Devontae Adams, got a good running game. Got one of the best coaches in the league. Got one of the best receivers opposite of Devontae Adams, who's better at this point. Puka Nacua. Stafford's healthy. I think Stafford's got one more in him. So one more run in him. So I'm taking the Rams to represent the NFC.
Wow. Wow. I mean, this is just really funny because I don't have the Rams in my playoffs and I don't have the Broncos in my playoffs. Two teams that could easily make it. So, wow. This is you're really going out on a limb with some of these, Kenny.
I'm going to look really bad at the end of the year.
You're going to look really bad or really good. It'll be one of the Look, again, this is awful. I'm picking a lot of chalk because I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking out the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship.
Okay, all right.
Like I said, I think the Micah Parsons deal is going to make much more of an impact than a lot of people think. One defensive player, how could that totally change everything? Let's not forget, though, that the Green Bay Packers are certainly still a talented football team, and Matt LaFleur, as I forget who, I think it's Stephen A. that says that all the time. I like Tucker Kraft personally this year as a tight end to break out on this offense. I think Tucker Kraft's one of the more underrated tight ends in the league. I'm excited to see what his ceiling is this year on the Packers. Matthew Golden, back to that rookie class. We're preaching the rookies on this show. But that's another wide receiver out of Texas.
Had the best walkout after he got drafted. With that being at Green Bay. Still can't get over that.
And obviously, like I said, Jordan Love, it's a season of, test it, for him in the NFC North because this is a tough division. And that's the other thing. I think the Packers are going to be capable of making it to the NFC Championship because they're going to be tested in that division. And there's a good chance that, the Packers or the Bears, as I have in my wildcard picks, that one of those teams is probably going to be 12-5. More likely the Packers. I mean, I would have the Packers over the Bears, of course. But I think the Lions could win that division at like 13-4. And then the Packers are like 12-5 or 11-6. So they're going to be battle tested. I think they can definitely win a playoff game and get to the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. But when it boils down to it, the Eagles are just so talented. I mean, they have so many of their guys back from last season, and I would really find it hard to believe that they can't go back to the Super Bowl again. But I don't have them winning the Super Bowl. I have the Baltimore Ravens taking out the Eagles. So we have a flock of birds in this Super Bowl this year. I think the Ravens win it all, beat the Eagles. I just think that these are the two best teams in the NFL when it boils down to it. Baltimore versus Philadelphia, not that far away geographically too. Super Bowl is out in the Bay Area this year, so actually two East Coast teams that would have to go entirely across the country for the big game. But I think the Ravens will have enough. In the end, that this would be a Super Bowl that I could see going right down to the last drive. I don't know. I'm really high on the Ravens this year. And I know that's a bad sign because Lamar Jackson, out of all the quarterbacks in the AFC, he's just as bad, if not worse, than Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Well, he is an alien. He's not from this planet with some of the plays he makes. He had a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown on the same, or a passing touchdown on the same play last year. Exactly. That's out of this world. So
Josh is an alien. But yes, anyways, Lamar Jackson is just as bad though in terms of like, can he actually prove it? Because he's got that awful playoff record. The Ravens have had plenty of chances and have never been able to capitalize. So, I mean, something's got to give. We've been saying this entire show about how the Chiefs are going to take a step back and, you have the freaking Denver Broncos winning the division. So, I mean,
Heck yeah.
at some point,
Yep.
something's got to give. So I'm just going to say it right now that the Ravens are the one to get over the hump and win it all. Like I said, whatever we've been talking about in the last hour and a half is just all a wash because I've taken all chalk. So, if you're somebody who likes to bet the dogs, I just wasted your entire day. So I'm sorry for that. But this is where I stand, and this is what I think this NFL season is going to boil down to in 2025.
Well said. So you brought up that the Super Bowl is in the Bay Area. So I do have a West Coast team that will be playing in it. That's the Rams.
Oh, no.
So they could sleep in their own beds. Playing against the Ravens, 2 weeks to prepare. Give me the Rams. I really like the Rams this year. Now, again, bad timing with the Stafford injury, but I like I said, Stafford's got one more run in him, man. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Sean McVay, Kyron Williams, Jared Verse. Give me the Rams over the Ravens. In a close game. Don't forget, they played each other a couple of years ago in Baltimore, and Baltimore won a game-winning punt. They returned a punt. Tylan Wallace returned it to the house in overtime, I think. It's going to be another good game between these teams. I got the Rams winning. And then Stafford goes off into the sunset.
Wow.
Actually, no, I don't know if that happens because he just got paid a big contract. But that's what I got. I got the Rams over the Ravens.
If you're a Rams supporter, plus 2,000 at FanDuel Sportsbook to win the Super Bowl. Behind the 49ers, Commanders, and Packers in that group. So, yeah, I mean, clearly the odds makers have some faith in the Rams too. I mean, that's, look, why not? I mean, I had the Rams and the Broncos missing the playoffs, and this guy has those two teams winning the divisions. So clearly there's going to be some big divide with Kenny and I and our.
I know this is good, but this is good though because when we did the shows at Quinnipiac, everything was this team. Oh yeah, we're the same. No, I want to be different.
It's true. This is actually probably the first year that we've really been radically different. You have the Steelers making the playoffs too. I don't have them in either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So let's go through it again one more time. Okay. So the NFC, I have Eagles East.
That's what
Lions North.
I got the Vikings.
Bucks in the South.
I got the Bucks.
Yeah. Okay. And then Niners in the West.
I got the Rams.
Right. Okay. Wild card. Packers, Commanders, Bears.
I have all the NFC North teams. So I have Packers, Bears, and Lions all making it. You don't have the Vikings making the playoffs.
Oh, that too. So there's four. That's 4 teams now. Okay. All right. And then AFC East Bills.
Yep.
North Ravens.
Yep.
South Texans.
Yep.
Oh, that's where we actually agree for once. And then West Chiefs.
Broncos.
Yep. And then I have Bengals, Chargers, Jaguars in the wild card.
I got Chiefs, Chargers, Steelers.
My goodness, this is gonna be quite something this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hoping that these pan out because if they don't, I mean, like at least if one of them doesn't pan out, like I'd like the Rams to pan out because I have them going all the way to the Super Bowl and winning it. Stafford, please stay healthy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's exactly what's going to rely on. If Stafford's healthy, the Rams will have a chance. They absolutely will.
Otherwise, it's going to be Garoppolo. But hey, Garoppolo led the 49ers to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Stenson Bennett's also on that team. He's quarterback of Georgia, won a national championship.
That's right. Bring him in. AFC Championship, I have Ravens Bills. Ravens winning.
Yeah, I think that's what I would have. I would have the Ravens over the Bills. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we actually agree with the AFC at least at the end. And then the NFC, I have the Eagles over the Packers.
Rams over Eagles.
Okay, so you have the Eagles.
Yeah, we'll do that. Rams over Eagles. We'll do that.
I was gonna say if you didn't have the Eagles in the NFC Championship, that would just be like scorching.
No, I got the Giants.
Yeah, good joke. We can hope and we pray, but I don't think that's happening. Yeah, and then Super Bowl Ravens beating the Eagles.
Rams over Ravens.
Wow, this is Wow, this is going to be really interesting. And then so wait, then the team. All right, so you don't have the Commanders and
No,
you don't have the Jaguars making.
no.
Right. So those are but you do have the Chargers?
Yeah, I
Or
got the
no?
Chargers. Yeah, I got the Chargers in the playoffs. Yeah,
So you got the Chargers. All right. So I think so I don't have the Vikings, the Steelers,
the
the Rams,
Rams,
and who was the fourth? I already forgot. But
Vikings,
anyway,
Vikings. Wait,
yes.
yeah, Vikings. You don't have Vikings. Steel. Oh, the Broncos.
Oh yeah. So Vikings, Steelers, Broncos, and the Rams.
Yeah,
Those are the four. So those are the four I don't have. And you don't have the Commanders and the Jags.
correct.
Right. Okay. So 4-2. I'm outnumbered. I'm screwed. Enough of the chalk. Enough of the chalk talk from me. And all I can say to put a bow on this grand old show that we just threw out there is that it's going to be a whale of an NFL season.
That's right.
I mean, like I said, I'm really excited to see all the different storylines that unfold. Like everybody knows the NFL. I mean, at least most people that I know. It's great water cooler talk at your workplace, and it's a weekend tradition that never gets old. Like Sundays are never the same in the fall. So to all the girlfriends, the wives, significant others out there, we're signing off on Sundays, and we'll see you again in February.
Yeah, it's tough for those people. So that's it. That's it. Any more closing remarks? Anything left before we put a bow on this almost 2 hours? Well, I'm gonna have to chop it down because the smoke alarms went off during the show. So
Yeah, that'll take.
That's gonna that's gonna take off like 5 minutes. I'll shave off some time.
But yeah, do your workouts, do your gardening, in the car, put this on because I'll tell you, we'll be there at the beginning of your drive. We'll still be on at the end of your drive.
Hey, it's kind of like it's kind of like a Quinnipiac because we used to do a 2-hour show.
That's right. So. It's just like the QIQ days.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, it's gonna be a great season. A lot of intriguing matchups and storylines. The NFL always delivers with the drama and the intensity of every week, and I've no doubt that it's going to be like that again this week. And Kenny and I will be fighting for bragging rights and seeing who's actually the smartest person out of this crew. So
yeah, otherwise you're going to be the main host. I'm going to be the co-host if it ends up not panning out for me.
Is that our challenge? Deal. Let's do it.
Actually, quick thing. So we do have opening night tomorrow. Who you got?
Yep.
And give your spread pick as well. Straight up and
all right.
With the spread.
So all right. So I'm gonna just go based off FanDuel since I'm on it. So
I think the line's now 8.5.
Whoa. Wow, that really jumped in favor of the Eagles. Yeah, it's 8.5 now.
Yeah.
8.5.
But it's still 6.5 in our spread pool. Hasn't changed. Still 6.5.
I don't know why, but now that it's north of 7, I kind of like the Cowboys plus 8.5.
I mean, Dak does play well against the Eagles.
Right. That's true. Historically, he does. And it's one of those things where we saw it this week with college football. The amount of rust out there that's probably going to, be there.
I know everybody's not gonna look good until like a couple more, 3, 4, week 5. That's when everybody starts playing clean football. So yeah, you could see that.
Like, should it be a good game? I mean, it could.
It's a divisional game.
Could be, yeah. I mean, I think 8.5 is a big number for that. I like the Cowboys plus 8.5. And then actually, Chiefs Chargers too. I'll mention that one since that's on Friday. In Brazil on YouTube. It's a new era.
It's free.
It's free. Thank goodness.
Just open the app and you're on it.
Yeah, don't have to get YouTube Premium or YouTube Plus or Unlimited, whatever the heck it is. Because there's too many options. Chiefs are currently -3. I hate even numbers, but I think you got to lay that with the Chiefs. I don't know. this is a tricky spot, because you're in the middle of Central America and you don't know who's more rested, who's been out partying, whatnot. We don't know any of that.
Well, we know Kelsey's been partying.
Oh, that we can guarantee. If it gets down to 2.5, I would love the Chiefs. 3 is making me overthink it, but I would still lean the Chiefs in that one. Chiefs should win the game, I think, regardless, whether it's by 3 points or 2 or 1, whatever, But, these are 2 really interesting divisional matchups to open the season. And, well, would you believe it doesn't end there because there's a lot
there's like
more
8.
divisional
there's
matchups
like 8 of them.
week. Yeah, in week 1. So already you're either going to be out to a head start or you're going to be stuck in the mud after week 1 in your division.
Yeah, so I'll take the Eagles are going to win. I think because it's 8, I would take the 8. But because it's only 6.5 in our spread pool, I'm probably going to just take the Eagles. They win by a touchdown.
Probably, yeah.
And then with the game on Friday, I kind of want to take the Chargers with the points. It's going to be a very close game. It's always a close game when Herbert and Mahomes match up. I know I just spent the whole episode, or the AFC portion, saying the Chiefs aren't going to win the division, all that. I think the Chiefs will squeak out a win here. I think they'll squeak out a win. So I'll give them the win. So that's it. All right. We'll try to be back each week, recap, the games and whatnot. Friday, going to do a pick show for the rest of the slate. So make sure to tune in for that. Ben, it's almost a 2-hour show. We got to get out of here because the next show is, up next, so we got to, but yeah, no, I appreciate you being on for the 2 hours. The recording's 2 hours. I'm going to shave it off because, again, we had the smoke alarms going off because my brother doesn't know how to, cook. No, he does know how to cook, but he just, he's always causing the smoke alarms to go off. That's hyperbolic, but it seems like it happens. Anytime the smoke alarm goes off, it's because of him lately. But, Ben.
Maybe because it was over your Rams pick.
No, I think that might be it. It might be it.
But you sign. Well, we're gonna go back to that in February. Take a listen.
They're gonna finish 6-11. Stafford's gonna be out, and it's just gonna no. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, Ben. Like I said, we're trying to have you on every single week, especially with football being back. So as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Jazz Chisholm 2 homers last night. Speaking of. Follow us on the social media platforms in the description, the video below, and wherever you get your podcasts. Because this is a long one. You can listen to us. Just look up Infinite Sports. And as always, everybody, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, along with the great Ben Upson. Signing off. Have a good one. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Football!